And I want to take a moment to acknowledge and bring attention to the gut-wrenching scenes we have seen coming out of Florida since that building first collapsed more than a week ago. We mourn the loss of the 18 lives who've perished, including the 2 children, ages just 4 and 10, whose bodies were found just yesterday. We continue to keep the families in our prayers of the more than 145 individuals who are still waiting to hear updates about their loved ones. I also want to thank all the first responders. I want to thank Israel for sending over their team as well. I know they're working round the clock. I know it's tedious work and I know it's difficult, but I want them to know that we appreciate it as well. Just moments ago, I made a unanimous consent request on the House floor to fund Israel's critical Iron Dome defense system. As many of you know, carried, we have the President of Israel here this week. The Israeli government requested resources from the United States to help them replenish the weapons system supplies and equipment, which is vital to protecting the Jewish state from terrorist attacks. As many of you know, the Iron Dome is a defensive protection. We watched the number of missiles come just a few months ago. I made the request alongside Whip Scalise, Ranking Member Granger, McCall, and Rogers. Considering Israel as our strongest ally in the Middle East, this measure should have received unanimous consent. House Democrats had an opportunity to show a sharp contrast from the anti-Semitic rhetoric and actions taken by some of their own members, but they didn't. Their caucus rejected this proposal and turned their backs on Israel instead. Now, I have a real concern with what the Democrats are turning their back on, not just our ally, but also, I feel, turning our backs on America. We've watched in this few short months what they have done to the border, the refusal to hold China accountable. Did we have any hearings this week in regards to the 600,000 Americans who've been killed from COVID and where it came from? The Biden administration Democratic policies are facing multiple crises in our country. We need solutions. That is why this week I announced the official launch of 7 issues-specific task force that will focus on identifying policies that will improve the lives of all families in America. The task force chairs and members are assigned to each task force will work together within their respective areas to develop policies that can help us improve our lives. Many will be introduced this year and next year and even into the next Congress. The task force members and leads for jobs and economy, it will be Patrick McHenry. Big tech censorship and data, Kathy McMorris Rogers. Future of America freedoms, Jim Jordan. Energy, climate, and conservation, Garrett Graves. American security, John Katko. Healthy future, that will be Devin Nunes and Brett Guthrie. China accountability, Michael McCall. Under their leadership, these task forces will work over the next couple months to build on our Commitment to America agenda, which we released last year. And when we are in the majority in January 2023, will be much different than the Democrats. Many of you recall you all received a schedule of a calendar for Congress. The minute the Democrats won their victory in Georgia, what did they do? They canceled the schedule because they didn't know what to do. And now we found out 6 months later, all they've done is develop a crisis. The Republican conference will have the answers and the solutions, and we'll lay them out to the American public to be very clear. As we move into this weekend, in these just 6 months of Biden administration, we have the highest gas prices in 7 years, as many want to hit the road. Inflation grew at the fastest rate since 2008. Crime. Last weekend, more than 70 shootings in Chicago. Just watched the weeks before, a man and woman pulled from their car in broad daylight and shot and killed on the streets of Chicago. Just a few weeks ago, we watched the young children walking their neighborhood in New York get knocked down by a man running who's being shot at. Continued to shoot at him as he laid on top of the children. We've watched crime continue to spike as the Democrats made that movement just a few years ago, hear about defunding of the police. Now we watch that the Democrats defunding the police is not enough for them. We watched what happened in appropriations just yesterday. The defunding of the border as well, from CBP and ICE. Even reducing it below than what the Biden administration wants. We watched the person in charge, the vice president, spend a short amount of time along the border, more at an airport, saying that they inherited a problem, but each month the problem has gotten worse. They set a new record, a 21-year record of the number of people coming across. Well, I think the American public wants more. They want to hold people accountable. They want a border that's secure. They want an economy that will grow. They want inflation under control, and they want a gas price they can afford as well. Unfortunately, no one thought in this short amount of time they'd put America in this greatest crisis. We watched the Middle East erupt, and today they had an opportunity not to send offensive, but defensive to our greatest ally, the only democracy in the Middle East, and they could not even agree on that. With that, let's open it up for questions.